Welcome everybody to our Blood on the Bayou circuit series. For today, everybody's going to be playing for up to $500 in prizing, as well as some unique Houston resource coins. We got 5 rounds of Swiss, as well as a cut to top 8, and I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know how about you?
I think it's going to be a great time. We're seeing a lot of people coming down from out of town to come take part of this amazing circuit series, of course, all ending at the battle-hardened Houston later on in a couple months.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. Everybody's also playing for our circuit points that are going to accumulate over time, where the top 8 point earners from our circuit series are going to have a free entry into the battle harden, as well as the top 16 point earners at the end of the battle harden will have their share of our $2,000 prize pool. And the battle harden itself being worth double the points means there's plenty up for grabs even later in the series.
And of course, as these circuits go along, and the points are earned, there could be some other special prizes, including our new exclusive Texas resource coin that is going to be much to look forward to.
For round 1, we have Marionette with being piloted by Austin versus Hayden on Florian.
Now, what are you expecting from this matchup overall?
I'm actually not too sure. I know it's gonna go long. Assassin players love to draw things out, but Florian also wants to, let his cards get banished to try to get online and start outvaluing. So I think it's really on Austin to try to out pressure Hayden before he can start getting too much value out of stacking up rune chants.
Yeah, and I think this just goes to show the unique play styles that'll be coming into effect for this game. Of course, yes, the Florian wants to banish those cards. Of course, you want to banish your your blue earth cards, not your premium red earth cards. So we're going to see whether or not Austin can try to get some of those juicy fellings or plows off the top of the deck. Try to not only help Hayden, but hurt Hayden in that same way.
But Marionette does have kind of a weakness to blocking decks, where he's really reliant on trying to get the go again on hit on stealth against marked enemies. But Florian packing who knows how many D-reacts at this point really is not going to let that happen.
Yeah, and I don't know if you are a big fan of the actual transformations, the Demi heroes. I tend to think that Marionette likes to stay in his normal form rather than go for the transformed form. But against these heavy blocking decks, you're kind of forced to transform because you're just not hitting, you're keeping your opponent marked. So it'll be very interesting to see how the game progresses in that kind of way.
Yeah, and it looks like our players are ready to go, and they're getting ready to kick stuff off. So let's see who ends up taking first here. We already see on the Florian side basically what you expect. Your Barkskin, Grasp, Face Purgatory, and actually a Well-Grounded, which will probably go a long way to trying to stop daggers from marking. And
yeah,
of course, Face Purgatory going to make things very difficult for Austin to get over whenever he really needs to, taking away his important reactions.
Yeah, and very quickly on the side of Austin, we're seeing the Mask of Deceit along with the Widow's Back Abdomen, which is the Arcane Barrier suite that they choose to run in the chest slot of all things, with the Flick Knives and Snapdragon Scalers. And on this turn 1, we just see Hayden play out the Channel Millennium Tree, Arsenal and Pass, setting up for a very strong next turn with that 3 amp going forward.
Getting the Millennium Tree on turn 0 is probably exactly what you're looking for to try to start really getting in the chip damage to really scale up your value later in the game.
Yeah, a lot of opponents seeing Florian, seeing a Rune Blade, deciding that AB1 is enough for them, having been met by the Rune Chant for 4, can definitely whittle down the life total if you're not careful.
Hayden dedicating a whole card to this Hunter's Clave is definitely interesting to me. He really wants to make sure he doesn't get marked in this early in the game, but Austin having the classic follow-up to that with Command and Conquer. If you're gonna deny my go again, I'm not gonna care about go again and just take more cards. And it looks like Hayden has a couple cards he'd really rather hold on to. I guess not this early in the game. Felling, pretty good card, but not so good when you don't have any Earths Engrave.
Yeah, so Hayden deciding that the 2 Fellings are too premium to give up in this case. Deciding to take the full 6, discarding a Command and Conquer of his own. I believe he's probably going to try to pitch the 2 Earth cards, 1 Felling plus that blue Fruits of the Forest to keep around the channel for another turn, sending that Rune Chant for 4 and the Reaping Blade for 3. So we will see.
Yeah, and definitely setting up the Felling of the Crown for the second cycle. It can definitely go far enough in this matchup for that Felling to come back around, so it'll be important to have such high value cards in the late game.
Yeah, and we're seeing the arsenal on the second Felling here has 1 Earth card with the Channel Mount Heroic plus the 1 C&C. Only needs 1 more Earth card to turn on the Decompose. Granted, it will not give the increased power, but that is still disruption that sometimes the Arakni Marionette player can get got by.
Marionette wants to definitely scale on the 5 card hands to make it a lot easier to for 1, mark the opponent, and to get the hits through to get the go again and get those really high value turns that Marionette's trying to go for.
We are seeing the attack with the Hunter's Clave here, blocked by the blue Fruits of the Forest. Austin wanting to swing the Hunter's Clave every turn, wants to turn on his hero's ability without having to dedicate the Flick Knives if he doesn't have to.
And I think fatigue might actually be a real issue for the Marionette. If he's not able to get enough attacks to connect through, it's going to be some very low value turns where Florian is really going to be able to just block out, make sure he can't connect any damage, and then have such powerful turns of his own with all the rune chants and then the big attacks to follow them up.
So we saw Austin have to dedicate the Flick Knives here to get the Mark of the Black Widow pushed up to 4 and the on-hit. Looks like now the Stains of the Redback is going to be coming out, pumping it up to 7, but Hayden is ready with that second defense reaction, covering up the full 7 for 7. And this is not what you want to see if you are the Marionette player. Your very defensive opponent is very happy to just sit here and block.
At least with the Stains of the Redback, they're able to get unconditional go again on this. So they can follow up with a pick up the point to recur the dagger right back instead of being afraid of not having enough daggers later in the game.
Yeah, and it looks like the Leave No Witnesses is going to get the Trot Along and the Grasp of the Arknight block here. So very wide turn by Austin, able to go 4 chain links wide and have hand destruction and arsenal destruction. This is also going to set up a Leave No Witnesses for any Codex turn that might happen.
That did peel away all of Hayden's cards, unable to keep around that Bark Skin of the Channel of the Millennium Tree, and taking a bit of armor block away from him as well. So hopefully with all the breathing room in the world, Austin can find something to snap back with here. Probably leading off on a dagger, trying to mark the opponent and chip away. So the more dagger attacks he can get off and the more cards he can peel away with the dagger, it makes it that much easier for him to not be worried about fatigue or any issues like that.
And it looks like the Savor Bloodshed is going to be played here, giving the next dagger attack +4, and the next time that dagger hits a marked hero, he will draw a card. Currently, Hayden is not marked, although the Flick Knives begs to differ sometimes. This will be Hunter's Clave for 5 go again, deciding on what Hayden will want to do.
And it looks like actually 2 reds pitch to this Clave, meaning the follow-up 1 card left is probably nothing too huge.
You say nothing too huge, but I think Codex is quite a huge card itself, and it looks like the Face Purgatory block is going to be used here.
Fair enough. Yeah, Codex getting ripped away from Reaper's Call. The Reaper's Call.
The response is the instant discard mark target opposing hero to the Reaper's Call, denying Hayden the discard value while still getting the draw value.
Face Purgatory blocking for, I believe, 7 here. Still blocks out the Clave, but he still was able to actually dodge the value, or half the value of Face Purgatory here, still being able to use the Reaper's Call to mark, and actually transforming to, I believe, Tarantula?
Yes, I believe number 5 was revealed, which should be Arakni Tarantula. So it's going to be making those daggers hurt a little bit more should they connect.
Oh. And a truce coming out from Hayden. Which
is very good if you are wanting to stay defensive. Forces your opponent. Arakni is not going to sit around and let both players gain 3 life. Arakni is going to try to attack you, which means that a 5th card in hand for Hayden will make it that much easier to block.
I'm sure you're a bit more acquainted with truce than I am.
I love this
surely
card.
the Florian surely the Florian's just looking for like the extra card to block with, or being able to block out and still be able to enable that Felling of the Crown in their hand.
So we see a Shelter from the Storm in the hand for Hayden, deciding to not discard it here. As he is already marked, there's no reason to prevent the on-hit anyway.
Yeah, a good amount of the value from Shelter from the Storm is being able to shut off these Assassin Daggers.
Ooh, and it looks like we're seeing the discard from Tarantula, giving that dagger +3, forcing the Shelter from the Storm out to do the full clean 4 cover-up into an Infiltrate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Infiltrate coming through, trying to peel 1 extra card away from Hayden, or get the value of the on-hit of being able to use whatever card comes off the top of the Florian's deck. But we're just going to get a Plow Under to shore it up. Without Marionette's effect of giving it the +1 and go again, it's a bit more difficult to try to connect these stealth attacks.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, as Austin was putting back that Tarantula, that I believe all of his demi-heroes were the Marvel versions, truly flexing out Arakni Marionette.
Austin, a very dedicated assassin player, dreading how many assassin marvels there were in this set that he would have to pick up. But I believe has his full set along with Marionette, Marvel Codexes, everything.
Now, the same can be said for Hayden as well. I believe he had the Marvel Face Purgatory, looks like, or the EA Face Purgatory, the EA Barkskin, the Cold Foil Grasp, and I know he has the Cold Foil Channel Mount Heroics, and the Channel Millennium Trees, so also a very dedicated player to Bling.
Cold Foil Felling probably a little bit out of the price range, but we are seeing the Decompose here, going to be able to rip away a card from Austin, but actually only coming in for 4 at this time, because there's only I believe 3 Earth cards in the Banish now, so it does not get its own pump from its effect.
Austin deciding which card he would like to bottom from his hand, trying to see how he can make this turn work. Of course, only 4 damage, that can be shrugged off somewhat. 8 damage, not so much. So we will see what Austin will decide to do, whether he wants to block or not.
Yeah, Felling much less threatening if it's not online, but it still takes away a card. It's still offering like a decent chunk of damage at 4, and making it that much harder for Marionette to try to get over on him.
So looks like the Reaper's Call will be the block. 1 damage taken. Passing back to Austin on Marionette. Hayden is still marked, and now Marionette is back to his original form.
The Isolate coming in for 2 on hit go again, probably making it Isolate probably being used to make it more difficult to block out the reaction, make it a little bit easier to try to get that second chain link. Ooh, and blocking for 4 on the 2 from the blue Isolate. Really trying to respect. I don't know if there's any like 2 pump reactions.
I mean, he could take up the mantle, which it looks like that's exactly what he's doing. That'll not only give that blue Isolate +3 attack, but it'll also let him swap it out for another stealth card, like that Infiltrate, which will also increase the attack, since it's a blue 1 attack, or the Mark of the Black Widow. So the Isolate will go from 1 attack to 3 attack from the Mark, +1 from Arakni, and then +3 from the Take Up the Mantle for 7 total.
Yeah, 3 coming over, getting the Banish effect and the Go Again. But that actually turns on a chunk of Florian's Earth cards now being at 4 Earth and Banish. And nothing to actually follow up with on the Go Again.
Looks like it's just going to be a Grasp, Trigger, into the other felling. So this is the 3rd felling we've seen.
3rd felling, the 1 pitched earlier. Now this is the 2nd one about to go to the graveyard. Decomposing, so Austin's going to have to bottom another card, but this time he's going to be facing down that 8, which is very threatening.
Yeah, and 6 cards in the Banish Zone, or Earth cards in the Banish Zone, for Hayden means that 1 more Decompose will turn his hero's ability online. The main thing to note is that he has not defended with the Barkskin of the Millennium Tree yet, meaning that once he is online and gets the 2 Embodiment of Earth tokens, it'll be much harder for Austin to push through with damage.
The Barkskin actually very high value with the Florian hero ability, having one time a snatch for 10, just 2 card block, just very simple 2 card block off of the 2 embodiments made earlier in the turn. But that's going to be, I believe, the 3rd Reaper's Call being blocked on the Felling of the Crown. Going back over to Austin with his arsenal and 2 cards left in hand.
Ooh, we see
Florian not currently marked.
We see a spicy card in Hayden's hand, the Canopy Shelter.
Ooh.
And on block makes an a might token, but 2 mites with Florian's active hero ability. We also see 2 defense reactions in the hand of Florian. Ooh, we're seeing the Fertile Ground, or
Well Grounded being activated to try to prevent the damage from Flick Knives, which would prevent him being marked and leaving Mark of the Black Widow unable to connect with its ability.
Interesting that Hayden has decided to deploy the Well Grounded rather than use the defense reactions in his hand.
He probably doesn't want to spend the defense reactions on a 1 power attack while still being able to shut off the Hunter's Clave, but holding on to that Well Grounded would mean he has like a flick response on board at all times, when he would have been able to easily cover up the Mark of the Black Widow. But this also does prevent the transformation at the end of the turn.
We are seeing the overpitch of that Sink Below be used to the Grasp into the Swarming Gloom Veil, deciding to keep an extra Sink Below for the late game and arsenaling the other defense reaction. We're just going to see 1 Arcane, 3 off the Swarming, 3 off the Reaping Blade, just kind of push a couple chain links, push a little bit of damage, and defend with something from the arsenal the next turn.
Yeah, I believe that's another Rootbound Carapace going to the arsenal for Florian. So really making life difficult for a Marionette player. Being 1 dagger down leaves him at like quite a disadvantage, making it that much harder to get across Mark, and having that second dagger just makes life just feel comfortable. Knowing you have the flick without giving up too huge of an advantage. Oh, and here is the up sticks and run, bringing back that dagger, giving it a nice pump, making it easier to connect the mark.
Yeah, these retrieve cards have really made flick knives just an all-star piece of equipment from this set. It's just been amazing.
The retrieve.
It's just been amazing to see, what kind of playstyles can be changed up, swapped up with the use of the flick knives itself.
Even then, it offers just different play styles to heroes. We can have marionettes that are not very dagger focused, while we have marionettes that are trying to abuse flick knives and just retrieving the hunter's clave. But that is that a hack to reality?
I was thinking the same thing, and I was thinking, no way there's a hack to reality on this list.
Try to finish a thought and not even like clicking. That is a hack to reality we see on our screen. Your next attack gets +2 damage, and the next time you hit a hero this turn, destroy a non-token aura. This is likely trying to target Channel Millennium Tree or Malefic Incantation. But here it still provides a +2 to the dagger, but it looks like it is being blocked out as we move back to the Florian's turn. That arsenal has been there for quite a bit for Austin, I believe.
Yeah, it's been definitely 2 or 3 turns. And I think, is that a Looming Doom in the hand?
That is
Hayden?
a Looming Doom in the hand for the Florian player. This is actually just going to be a blue Autumn's Touch coming down. But with the life lead that Florian has, this 5 power, just swinging a blue, not something you want to be doing, but it's just such a sizable chunk of damage and that much more of a life gap for our Florian player.
And he's also able to arsenal that So Tomorrow, so on the next turn he'll be able to play it from the arsenal, put one of his spellings back into his deck, and draw an extra card. So it'll be very good for his next turn. He'll be able to block and still play off of 1 card plus that arsenal.
You see the block on the, and that name always escapes me, Art of Desire body. Probably not expecting it to try to connect this turn.
Oh, it looks like we were seeing, I believe that's a Kiss of Death come through. It's going to be the Barkskin and the Millennium Tree with the Truce block, and we are online with Florian. Ooh, this super overblock. We're going to make 2 Embodiment of Earth, 2 Might tokens.
Now blocking for 8, which there's still a piece of equipment on the board that says, okay, you want to overblock? Well, let's just activate Snapdragon Scalers and have go again anyways.
And I believe I see a Codex of Frailty in hand. Now, this is a little unfortunate considering that Austin has had that arsenal for quite some time, but it looks like we're finally going to see it. It is a Command and Conquer. Now, does Hayden want to protect that So Tomorrow, or does he want to let it go away? He is at a very high life total.
Yeah, definitely has the room to breathe, let this hit, and then still be demanding a lot from Marionette, even with just a blue.
So as we see these Embodiment of Earths go away, it's going to be the 2 Might tokens coming through. It's going to be the 2 Rune Chants from the Grasp and that Reaping Blade for 5. This is a 1 card 7.
Canopy Shelter really showing why it's showing up in a lot of these decks, being able to make the already 1 card 5 that much stronger. Not even caring about the CNC taking away his arsenal last turn. He's just going to crack back with a 1 card 7. Park his other card and be ready to continue trying to whittle down the Marionette. Persuasive prognosis going to the grave of the Marionette player. Usually something you'd want to try to play with a Justinic. And here we see the classic underpitched dagger from an assassin player. We know the Codex is coming up, but I believe even Hayden at this point knows the Codex is coming up. It's a very classic play to underpitch to make sure you don't have any cards in hand that you would have to discard to the Codex of Frailty.
Yeah, and as obvious as this is a pummeled CNC, Hayden knew exactly what was going on. Just giving one card to the Hunter's Clave, and it looks like it will be the 6th block for the CNC itself.
And this is the 3rd CNC. He just eats. He just says, you could have my arsenal. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. God, and the Marvel CNCs just to go with or the Fable CNC, sorry, just to go with everything Austin already has to bling out his deck. And that is another Command and Conquer we see coming from the Florian side this time. While the life gaps are getting quite a bit closer, Florian still has an advantage being able to ask for so many cards from the Marionette, making it difficult for them to get damage over.
Well, and Florian also has a similar type of disruption with the Fellings and Plows, both arsenal and hand disruption, as well as being able to play off a single card, having that 1-card 5 with the Florian hero ability turned on. So he's very happy to be offensive, and he's very happy to be defensive at this point.
I believe I see a Bonds of Agony in hand for Austin.
And I think I also saw Justinic.
The classic 2 cards you want to be seeing together. I don't believe we caught a glimpse of what was coming off the Ponder last turn.
No, I believe he just quickly arsenaled it, and it's a CNC from Austin again.
Very staple card in Flesh and Blood and disruptive decks. Especially against a hero like Florian, who runs, 10 plus D-reacts likely. Or somewhere in the ballpark of like 8 to 10. Just gives the 2 cards, calls it a day. Going back over to our Florian player. And it's another CNC. Is that 4 in a row now?
So this is the last CNC for Hayden. Who knows how many codexes he wants to get a CNC with at this point. But we've seen 4 CNCs from Austin, 3 CNCs from Hayden.
It looks like our players are having a good laugh about this as well.
This is just the classic block 2 cards, swing and attack. They block 2 cards, swing and attack. You block 2 cards. That's a Guardian gameplay. That's not what these heroes are supposed to do.
Florian's a Guardian. He just does a bit of arcane. Starting on a Hunter's Clave, again for Austin. The bread and butter weapon. Getting a whole D-react just for the Hunter's Clave. That is going to be an Art of Desire body coming out. Probably looking to try to flick. So you can get the go again and the draw card if he banishes a red.
There is the Sink Below,
and he will be flicking
for Hayden. There is also an Arcane Seeds Life, which is going to make 4 rune chance.
The Hayden... Flick Knives does connect, but he does have the Sink Below to cover it up.
Looks like that will be it. Hayden is marked, so they will roll. That looked like maybe 4, so it's going to be Arakni Redback. Marionette might have lost his on-hit go again, but now he has on-reaction go again. We're seeing the Grasp of the Arknight played or activated, making the 2 rune chants. The Arcane Seed's life will not gain Hayden a life because of the Reaping Blade, but will make the 4 rune chants. So this is going to be a play for 6 rune chants and 3 physical. This is 3/4 of Austin's life total on this turn off of 2 cards.
It was a 9 damage split 9 or 9 damage 2 card setup. This goes to show the absurd value Florian gets in the end game.
So it looks like blue pitch to soak up 3 of the rune chants, 3 of the rune chants getting through. Reaping Blade still coming in. Austin having to think about it, deciding to check the graveyard for Hayden. What threats could he still have left?
At this point, the Reaper's Blade coming in for a third of his life is not something he can just take and shrug off. He does have the option at the moment to block with that Mask of Deceit to get his choice of Brood member. And it looks like that is what he's going to do. Swapping it out for, of course, Arakni Black Widow.
Probably the best one to hit. Three-card hand for Austin.
Very strong effect of converting any assassin card into 3 power with the on-hit banished from hand. Probably the go-to for just about anybody. And we see the Bonds of Agony. This is our first bonds that we're seeing on the combat chain this game, immediately giving the Bark Skin of the Millennium Tree, creating 2 embodiments. With the Germinate, that is currently, what, 6 block?
Yes, so 5 from the Germinate, 1 from the Bark Skin. What will we see here? It looks like it's going to be the Flick Knives once again. Austin foregoing his last dagger. Stains of the red back, and the activation of Arakni Black Widow.
I believe this is now 10 go again with the Bonds of Agony on hit of look at their hand and then choose up to 3 copies of that card, of a chosen card, to banish from their hand, graveyard, or deck. But with this Rootbound Carapace, I believe that will shore it up, sadly losing out on both the Bonds of Agony and the Black Widow effect as we revert back to Marionette and pass over to Florian.
But now Austin is in a little bit of a pickle. He's got no weapons. He used everything to make that play, and it did not work out. So now his hands are going to be converting for far less, as he has nothing to sink extra resources into.
Oh, this is a 5 go again from the E-Strike. Not really valuing the buff power because at this point I don't believe we're going to fatigue, and he still has the Reaping Blade to follow this up.
Yeah, the Reaping Blade provides 1 additional point of damage. So it looks like Hayden will just go that route. 5 into 3.
Blocking now because going to 1 makes every rune chant really ask a question of you, and don't want to be caught with some of Florian's double rune chant turns with all reds.
Now the Widow's back abdomen does also have Spell Void, so should Austin need to make a very desperate play, he could pop the Spell Void on a rune chant to save an extra card from hand. Although that would be his one and done play, as he would have nothing else to give after that.
Oh no. Looks like a red pitch to the retrieve part of pick up the points effect. Not really what you want to be doing at this point. Just come in with a head jab that you have to pay for. While Florian just gets to do his classic 2 rune chants, Reaping Blade. That is a Codex of Frailty being pitched to it.
This is an amazing play because not only is this going to force cards out of Austin's hand, but I think Hayden's also going to be arsenaling the last channel Millennium Tree.
Oh no.
And all he has to do is keep it around for one turn after the first, and he should win. It's going to be the looking for a scrap coming through. Plenty of blue 1 attacks. Hayden's probably going to ignore this completely, as he is 10 life above his opponent, so 5 damage does not matter.
Players remembering the Florian is not currently marked. As we guess, the Florian just shrugging off the 5 go again. Looking forward to just coming back with as many cards as he can to try to take everything away. But that Leave No Witnesses does ask a 2-card block threatening the Millennium Tree and Arsenal. I believe Hayden probably just going to...
It's a 2 Battlefront Bastions?
2 promo Battlefront Bastions. Going to be 4 Arcane, 1 Arcane, followed by the 3 damage.
Although this is no blue or no Earth card pitched, which means this channel is not going to stick around for an additional turn. And that could be pretty big, considering that Austin gets to live here.
Even just this 1 turn setting Austin to 1 life makes it a lot scarier. I believe there's still 1 tree left in the deck for Hayden. I don't believe he's blocked with the 3rd one. There's that Felling of the Crown coming back around. Oh no. Pitching 2 reds for a Clave.
Gotta love the 2-card 1. Does on hit mark. And Austin could hope for Arakni Trapdoor to kind of bail him out of a bad situation.
Hayden taking the 1, knowing that he's going to probably Felling of the Crown here and still have an Arsenal just at the cost of 1 life and letting Austin roll the die.
Ooh, it's gonna be... believe that was a 2, which is Funnel Web.
That is a Trot Along.
Reaping Blade with Go Again.
Trot Along, one of the weirdest cards to come out of Hunted, along with like the trio of blue 3-block generics, offering Go Again to your next attack with 3 or less base power, actually strangely becoming a staple. We see it with various cards like Dawnblade and Trot Along.
And this should be
or
the
Reaping
game.
Blade.
This is going to be Felling for 8. 2 cards left in hand, 1 block of defense on the equipment, and that will be the game. Hayden taking it over Austin on Arakni Marionette.
I think that played out roughly kind of how we expected. Marionette wanting to threaten reactions and on hits, and Florian just being happy to block those and continue his game plan of setting up his banish and coming back with the ever more threatening Reaping Blade later in the game.
Yeah, and I think Florian just being I would say Florian's a mid-range deck. Alright, there's the tools for both the offense and the tools for the defense. He can kind of pivot and sit back or be very aggressive. So I think, yeah, just a very strong mid-range deck versus an aggro deck. It's always going to favor the mid-range deck to some degree. I think we just got to see perfectly how well it does.
But that is going to be it for our round 1 for today. Please consider checking out the other rounds for the Circuit Series and our upcoming Circuit Series leading up to Battle Hardened Houston at the end of June. So I hope to see y'all there, and y'all have a good night.